There was a very interesting interview with a PlayStation developer recently, and I thought that they made some incredible points about the PlayStation 5. Also managed to debunk some things that people were saying about the PlayStation 5 as well. We also heard some interesting things about the specifications that Sony hasn't really announced yet, which I thought were also very, very interesting. And I have to say, I'm very excited to make this video because people are always kind of searching for that next bit of information on what's coming out, and both Sony and Microsoft have been incredibly quiet lately. So this is actually cool to see, and it actually put some fears aside that I had. Not that I had many when it comes to the PlayStation 5, but it was just good to hear developers kind of talk about what's coming with the PlayStation 5 and what to expect and what not to expect. So this should be a pretty interesting video, and I hope you guys learn a lot. I know I did from watching the interview, so let's get started, shall we? What's up, everybody? Crapgamer here with Crapgamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Shout out to all the old subscribers, new subscribers, everybody in between. Please take a minute to consider subscribing. I do daily content. With that being said, this is an interview with an indie developer named Josh Loveridge, and he actually did an interview with Marlin Gaming, which I am going to link in the description below. Of course, I really just kind of wanted to touch on a lot of the subjects from the interview because, again, this is stuff that you don't usually hear, and it was nice to see sort of an interview go this sort of route, talking about specifically Xbox and PlayStation. Now, of course, there's going to be people that go, well, this developer obviously is biased towards PlayStation or whatever. I think that each individual developer kind of forms their own relationships and bonds, whether it be Microsoft or Sony or Nintendo, and I feel like that's exactly sort of what happened here. You can have a bad experience with a certain company or whatever, and that can kind of sour the relationship. So I don't think that it's necessarily bias. I just think that he's had better luck with with Sony, and he kind of goes into it. He says that he started working with Microsoft first and then Sony, and said that Microsoft was pretty difficult to work with, which we've kind of heard that with different developers and indie devs and stuff like that before. Again, Microsoft has their own kind of things that they do. For all the quote-unquote good things that they do and the positive things that they do, you have to keep in mind that they're still a corporate company first and foremost, right? Like the whole corporation comes first before anything else. So people have to really kind of recognize that and understand that that's where really Microsoft comes from. It's not really necessarily a good place. I know that they're all companies that are trying to get our money, but Microsoft is a lot more suits than gamers, and you got to keep that in mind. He said flat out that Microsoft doesn't allow certain genres of games to be made because they don't sell well. This goes in line with what we've heard before, when it comes to like certain types of mature games and stuff like that. They're really kind of getting away from that, and I think that people should realistically kind of set the bar for that. I know they keep saying they give developers freedom and things like that, but they might give their new developers, like some of the new people, some freedoms on what they want to do, but I'm sure they have a list of things that they aren't allowed to do. And I'm sure if you're an indie dev trying to publish on Xbox as a platform, that you might have to adhere to a certain list of things. He also flat out said that the 4K rumor is nonsense. Then some devs have even been playing with 8K resolution on the PlayStation 5. So if you didn't know, there were rumors going around from certain people saying that the PS5 wasn't capable of doing 4K and 60. Obviously, that's been disproven multiple times now, but he said that the solid-state drive is about 60 times faster at loading than the 7200 HDD, which is really good news because that is that's really kind of a benchmark. A lot of people compare hard drives to that. He says that Sony actually treats their developers better and allow them go with their creative directions, their creative freedom, and actually support their decisions much more than Microsoft. And like I said, he's doing just an indie game or whatever, and I know a lot of people will go, oh well, you don't even really like indie games. Listen, I like some indie games, and it's not necessarily the game that he's making, it's the points that he's making and the truths that he's telling is what I'm really most interested in. So for him to sort of go out like this and say kind of what's up, I can really appreciate that and think that it's pretty awesome, and I think it takes guts to come out there and kind of be honest, because at a time like this, it is difficult to go out there and go, oh, well, Microsoft maybe isn't as consumer friendly as, people are kind of making it out to be. So he also said that the new generation of consoles are going to be able to achieve new levels of AI with the extra power, which obviously is something that I've been talking about for a while. If you're really interested in, the next generation, obviously that immersion level should be there, and you want more AI, and you want smarter AI and larger worlds and things like that, then, next generation is really going to deliver that, particularly with the PlayStation 5. And he also said to expect space to become an issue with next gen. He says that games are going to be using more textures, shading, bigger levels, high resolutions, and more intensive space-taking features, which, again, that should be expected. But they also obviously are still using some sorts of compression and stuff like that. So we do have to, at least be a little bit thankful for that. And I do think that that is, probably some good news as well. He was dropping some megatons, though. He said that non-disclosure agreements have made it a weird time for indie devs being able to talk with each other like they normally do. So they haven't really been able to share anything with other indie devs. That he says that no studio is allowed to confirm or deny that they have a dev model or a working PS5. So I guess that's part of the NDAs as well. Again, this could be part of the reason why, like, even my friends and stuff have been a little bit less forthcoming with information about the PS5. So, again, he says also, this was a very interesting point. He says that backwards compatibility was officially announced very vaguely with the PS5, so he wants to keep it as vague as possible with his answers. He says, but unless it's a game that only one person has downloaded, then I wouldn't worry about not being able to play your current games on PS5. Basically confirming pretty much everything is going to be backwards compatible on PS5, which goes into line with things that we've heard before, and I feel like they did a really fantastic job with that. That's fantastic. I'm happy to hear that everything's going to be pretty much copacetic from day one. He says, from a dev's perspective, pre-order a PS5 if you want the best player experience. You will regret getting a Series X because Microsoft just doesn't deliver that level of player experience. Also says that maybe once a year you'll see an Xbox game when you own a PlayStation and go, wow, I really wish I had that. But on the Xbox, it's every few weeks or months that they have to see these quality exclusive titles and say, wow, I wish I had a PlayStation for that. So again, you got to keep that in mind. That's something that I've kind of noticed, right? I was an Xbox fan for an extremely long period of time this generation, longer than I probably should have been. And, I still want them to do well. But it was like once 2016 hit, and particularly when it got a little bit later, when stuff like God of War was coming out, and, I was stuck with State of Decay 2 or whatever, I was like, man, it would have really been nice. They kept coming out with these hits after hit after hit, and it was just a situation where I was a little bit bummed out about it. So when asked about pre-orders, he said that he can't disclose any information, but it would be wise to try and reserve a pre-order now or as soon as possible. He says that place in the UK and Amazon UK are places you can reserve a pre-order of the console as well, at Best Buy and stuff like that. If you live in the US, you should be able to possibly pre-order as soon as possible. Otherwise, you might miss out. And again, he's also confirming that there is no actual upgrade fee to upgrade from the PS4 version to the PS5 version, and he doesn't want to charge anyone for an upgrade. He says it comes down to them needing to pay a licensing fee. He'll email the buyers and of the game and let them know what's happening, but that he's looking to give free upgrades and stuff like that. So again, you see developers come out and kind of say this kind of stuff. It's very rare. It's probably even rarer for bigger developers to do it, but much less a smaller developer to even come out and do this and to just be very truthful. And a lot of people maybe thought that all developers coming in to Xbox have free reign to make whatever kind of games they want, and he's confirming, hey, you know what? That's not exactly the case. This is not something that a lot of people probably thought. Again, everybody was assuming that Microsoft gives full developer freedom to everybody that works for them or whatever. This is not the case. Again, if you think that 343 has a choice to make something besides Halo, you're wrong. If you think that Turn 10 has a choice to make something besides Forza Motorsport, you're wrong. If you think the Coalition has a choice to make something besides Gears, you're wrong, okay? I'm not saying that they don't have any choices at all, some of the other developers that they might have just hired, but for the most part, they probably have to adhere to a set circumstance of things that they have to design for, certain type of games, and I just feel like that's probably what they're going to be doing. If you look at, probably you might go, well, Hellblade 2. I have a feeling that Hellblade 2 was in pre-production maybe before Microsoft even bought them. So that's something interesting to kind of keep in your mind as well as we kind of go forward into next generation. I just feel like we're kind of into this weird time where, you know, we're starting to see some games come out, but, you know, Microsoft has a lot to prove. You know, I've said this multiple times. I just feel like they have, out of all the companies, have the most to prove, and I hope that, you know, I hope they're up to the task, because so far it's been incredibly disappointing what they've shown. Anyway, like I said, I will link this. Let me know what you think. Thank you to all those that took the time to check out one of my videos. It means the world to me. Hopefully you guys all stay safe, happy, and healthy. If you want to hit me up on Twitter at @_Crapgamer, Xbox Live, MOH space Crapgamer, PSN just Crapgamer, and I love to talk games with you guys. So just let me know what you think. Sound off, all that kind of great stuff. I really do appreciate it. Game on, my friends. Game on. Rack 'em up. Crapgamer out.
Unscripted.